Howdy everyone, on this be Voltage, and this video is actually one on Hollow Knight Silksong, which is a game that came out about a week and a half ago, and has blown the internet by storm, but there's also been some negatives about it that I personally have seen. One being, how freaking difficult it is, my god! Why is the game so difficult? But this video is about that, and personally, I just want to see what's the deal, why is it so difficult?
I won't show any footage beyond Act 1.
Thank you.
Here. But yeah,
because me personally, like, I've seen a YouTuber who's only been playing, who's only in the Citadel, which is in Act 2. But also, just FYI, if I say some stuff that you guys haven't seen, then it might not be the best to watch this video yourself, because I've seen some stuff in Act 2, but not much. I'm just watching Fireborn's full playlist of it. I'm only on part 3, an hour into that. And he has 2 more. He has another 11-hour stream and another 8-hour stream after that I have to still watch.
Is Team Terry's much anticipated, much hyped sequel
to
2017's incredible Hollow Knight. But pretty much the only thing people are talking about with this game is its rather brutal level of difficulty.
Yeah.
For context, this is a Metroidvania about winding through an interwoven map looking for upgrades and secret passages.
It is very, very difficult.
Nothing too strenuous about that. But along the way, you'll have to go to
the Bell Beast? Okay, that's from Track 1. This is the fast travel, actually, the Bell Beast. When you beat it, you can unlock fast travel then.
Now, the first Hollow Knight was pretty tough at times, but Silksong seems to turn the dial further, with even early and mid-game bosses like the...
Oh god, this thing, the Last Judge, that thing is difficult. Even Fireborn, who played Hollow Knight for a long time, has struggled on it.
The patterns, safe spots, and phases you must go through in order to win. All of which has left some players feeling
Lace, hello. That's
and
Lace's first fight.
Frustrated. Review site VGC gave the game 3 stars out of 5, praising almost every aspect, but trashing it for a level of difficulty that feels demotivating and sadistic. And so with all this chatter going on, I thought it might be interesting to talk about the design
I remember seeing this boss.
Games through the lens of Silksong, to look at why game designers choose to implement a higher level of
the Skull Tyrant, okay.
Crucially, how they should go about
However, this is the first Skull Tyrant fight.
And this is a GMTK Mini. Okay, so the first question is, why would a game designer choose to make their game hard in the first place?
It makes the game more playable, I'd say.
By amping up the challenge? Well, I think there are 3 main reasons to do it. Number 1 is that the harder a challenge is, the more satisfying it feels to finally overcome it.
Like, if you beat it, then it's really helpful. It makes you really happy.
The first time you play it, it might barely even register as something that happened. But if you struggle against a boss for an hour, slowly improving your skills, your reflexes, and your knowledge with each failed attempt, and then you finally topple that monster, well, that moment of triumph is something you might never forget. That's the idea.
I will just say, for something like that in particular, of feeling success after doing something, I re-got through Hollow Knight again, and I actually managed to beat the Brooding Moloch finally, after about 4 hours of attempts. And I will say, when I was done, I was pretty fucking happy. But afterwards, I honestly died. I was pretty pissed off because I had to do the pogo section again just to get my shade back.
And Hollow Knight Silksong certainly plays into this. When I finally beat the last judge, my palms were sweaty, my heart was racing, my eyes were straining from not blinking, and I
don't know what
an embarrassing
thing they're using on this, like which crest.
To mark my victory.
It can't be Architect, because that's
with an easy game. The second reason to amp up the difficulty is to tie in with the game's narrative or aesthetic goals. Like, if a game tried to tell you that this kingdom is a place of misery and death, a no-man's zone where hope goes to die.
That checks
out. And then you play it and it's full of enemies who die in a single hit. Well, that's going to be pretty dissonant. So if you want to tell a story about suffering and failure, then the gameplay should reflect that. That's how Celeste works. The game is about hero Madeline stubbornly persisting through hardship and setbacks as she climbs a legendarily high mountain. And so the player must also stubbornly persist through hardship and, well, You get the idea. Silksong plays into this too.
Yeah.
The game's world, Farloom, is a withered, haunted land. There is death everywhere. Other characters are seen failing on their pilgrimage to the Citadel. Main character Hornet must grow in strength
I'm pretty
and
sure
wisdom
like
to succeed,
6 characters
and
even
so
died on the way to on the way to the Citadel. I'm pretty sure 2 of them died from
is to
the
ensure
last
that the player
judge.
approaches the game
I
in a
remember
certain
seeing
way. Take
2 of them
the
get
game
crushed by the
Fury,
Skull
a
Tyrant
game
in
about
the
being patient and
Bone Village, whatever it's
observant
called.
as you
I think I
dodge
remember
and
seeing that.
parry every incoming attack before
And
exploiting a rare
I'm
opening
pretty
to
sure some
deal
other
some
ones didn't make
damage.
it either
The
when
game
they
is
actually
designed
knew
as a
or
brutal
talked
back and
to.
forth ballet of defense and offense. But if you could also just run up to the boss, dodge a few simple attacks, and then wail on it until it dies, well, you wouldn't have to do any of that stuff I just said, and the game would be pretty dull. So, in Fury, difficulty acts like a teacher, punishing you if you play it wrong, rewarding you if you play it right. Where easy games let you get away with simple and repetitive strategies, hard games require you to use every mechanic,
Actual
every system,
skills.
every tool, and every inch of the level design. And Silksong does play into this also. You'll need to learn every boss's patterns, make use of
This
every
boss, the
charm and
freaking one
tool,
that
and
stamps his hands
understand
down
Hornet's moveset
towards
on
you.
a deep molecular level. So I
I
think
quite liked
those
that
are
one.
3 main reasons to make a game more
That's the
challenging. To
Weaver.
increase the sense of satisfaction,
Okay.
to mirror the storyline, and to discourage boring playstyles. All of which turns difficulty into another tool that a game designer can use to create the exact experience they want. But, big but. A tool can't be used carelessly or thoughtlessly. I mean, it's simple to make a game really hard. Just put spikes everywhere and send the player back to the beginning of the whole game every time they fail. That's done, but you've now alienated 90% of players. No. Instead, difficulty is a careful balancing act. We want players to feel challenged, maybe even frustrated, but we also want them to get that moment of catharsis from winning before they go all the way into rage quit.
Yeah.
Now, I think if a game feels fair, like you can see how you might learn from your mistakes, you can feel yourself getting better, you blame yourself for slip-ups, and you have ample opportunity to repeat and improve.
Because honestly, like when I was losing on Hollow Knight, I was blaming myself because I just wasn't good at the game. I'm just not good at it, unfortunately.
This is where Silksong lands. I spent a long time fighting the last judge, but I was kept going because I could see a path.
Basically, everyone spent a long time fighting the last judge because a lot of people actually fought against him and just have lost.
But if the game is
Fireborn took like
then the player is
40-50 minutes to do it.
Frustration and perhaps even rage quit much more quickly. And sadly, Silksong has a fair amount of BS. Things like the long, repetitive journey to the boss fight every time you repeat. Things like unpredictable troll moves. Things like boss encounters that use random patterns.
I remember that bench. Oh my god, that bench.
Regenerate upon death, so you'll have to farm enemies to top up.
That bench is the most bullshit bench in any game.
Pushes players to get mad, to stop playing, to write reviews.
That's in Hunter's March.
And that also means it no longer fits one of those design goals from earlier.
Pretty hilarious. I love that bench. Because even freaking Fireborn fell to that bench and got killed because of it. Hunter's March is not an easy location.
Just sheer relief that they'll never have to do that again. So, as game designers, we can't think of difficulty as a single monolithic thing that
Yeah, honestly,
add or remove from our game. But instead, it's a broad category that includes
I would rather have difficulty settings than Hollow Knight Silksong or Hollow Knight itself.
The game and the player's relationship with it in a unique way. But there is another type of tool we can use, and that's giving the player an opportunity to change the difficulty in some way, to decide just how hard or easy the game should
like,
be.
say, if you turn it on to easy mode,
version of this is to provide difficulty modes or
you like there's less enemies then.
The game. And Silksong, like the original Hollow Knight, does not include anything like this, which, in some ways, is a shame, because, well, difficulty is a really subjective thing. What's challenging is different for every player. If you asked me to run a 100-meter dash in, say, less than 12 seconds, that would be really tough, but a plausible challenge to overcome.
Not me.
But it would be practically impossible for a young child, and completely laughable for Usain Bolt. Difficulty adjustments.
Completely laughable for me, honestly. I'm pretty fast as well.
Challenged. And also there's more to Silksong than just beating bosses. This is also a game about untangling an interconnected web of maps and areas, and a game about understanding the deep lore of its storyline. It would be a shame to deny people of those aspects just because they can't beat the bosses. It reminds me of Tunic. My wife loved playing this game and uncovering its many secrets and riddles,
I think
but
I've
she
heard of this game. I
simply
never played it
would not
before.
have been able to play it without the accessibility adjustments that let you tone down the difficulty of its crushing Souls-like boss battles.
Like for me, like take Fire Emblem for example. I generally am okay at it, but sometimes the difficulty is just too hard from the fights, and I have to tune it down slightly. Like I've beaten the full game with Corrin in it. Faith, I'm pretty sure it's called. I completely beat that full game, but I had to do it on normal mode. Where after each fight, I ended up having my avatar revive after the fight was done, because that just made it actually possible for me to do it. Because I tried it on very hard mode beginning and regretted it.
With all that being said, Silksong does have one big thing that allows you to adjust the difficulty, and that's being able to explore elsewhere. You see, one of the bosses
Mm-hmm.
that pushed me into the frustration zone was this guy, the Savage Beastfly. It's not actually a very difficult fight, he has pretty simple patterns to avoid and exploit, but he also spawns in loads of enemies who just
Sure.
get in the way and drain your health.
You know, I'll give you that one. I mean, the boss itself, like the boss alone, that's just Gruzmother, but on steroids. The Gruzmother was the only boss I beat on the first try in Hollow Knight. I got my ass clapped by the failed champion for 2 hours.
And in many ways,
No, I'm serious.
Silksong is
2 hours
totally designed
to the
around
failed
this
to the champ
idea.
to the false
The game
knight.
is full of completely
I
optional
remember seeing this
bosses,
boss.
and there are very few times where a boss acts like a complete bottleneck to progressing further into the game. I'll explore this more fully in the inevitable Boss Keys episode on this game, but basically, you can almost always go somewhere else and come back later. Also, Silksong has a mechanic where you lose your cash, your rosary beads, when you die, and you've got to go back
Which
to
is
your
brutal.
corpse to pick them up. It's a mechanic that, in most games that do this, forces you to keep going back to the same area again and again. But it's not as egregious as other games. Like in Hollow Knight 1, you'd have half as much mana until you find your corpse. Not so in Silksong. You can also find ways to bank your rosary beads. All things that make it okay to leave your cocoon behind and just go somewhere else. And perhaps you could even point to the way ammo works. Like I said before, ammo doesn't regenerate on death, so you'll need to go and kill some enemies to top up your reserves. This breaks the pattern of going back to the boss over and over again, and may encourage you to just do something else. In all of these ways, and more, Silksong is telling you that the solution is
I
almost
don't remember
never
seeing this
to
quest
just
ever
keep
berry
hitting
picking.
your head against a
Oh,
brick
this
wall
boss is
until
so
you get
fucking
through.
cool. It really is one of the
Instead,
coolest
if you
bosses in
get
the
stuck,
game,
you
in my
should
eyes,
go elsewhere.
that I've seen
Get
so
more
far.
powers. Maybe you'll find a friend who will help you in
Garmon's
battle,
Zaza.
or
Hey,
that
little
one
guys.
special item that will make the boss fight
This is
easier.
the
Or
Forge
maybe you
daughter.
just
I remember
need a
her.
break. So, in a nutshell, difficulty is a tool that game designers can use to craft a specific experience. But really, difficulty is a huge set of disparate tools which must be deployed carefully. And finally, it's always worth thinking about how to give players ways to adjust or circumvent the difficulty. Right now, Silksong is still in my sweet spot. It's tough, but I'm surviving. But how about you? Let me know in the comments down below.
I did already hear one thing from the game developers of the game. They're actually going to be patched in the game to make the early game less difficult, because there's so many random enemies that just do 2 hearts of damage, and they plan on actually down tuning that a little bit. From that, like that's from Team Cherry, that they plan on down tuning some of the enemies. I think the update was supposed to happen yesterday or today. So cool. That means I might actually get the game on Switch. I'm not sure yet. After beat Hollow Knight, I probably will, but until then, probably not. And I'm still quite a ways away from being Hollow Knight. So, bye bye.